Hey everybody, Hector Castillo from girlschase.com here to talk to you about eye contact and the 9 eye contact tips that will help you attract women. Eye contact is super important because it's probably the most powerful communicator that you have besides the rest of your body, because what it does is when you're making eye contact with someone, there's this ineffable transmission of information that's happening. It's even more clear than your facial expressions because eyes never lie. And there's a lot of studies in social psychology where they analyze how people's eyes move. For instance, like when someone's lying, they tend to look up in a certain direction. Well, it doesn't necessarily mean they're lying. It means they're creating a story, which could be fake or could not be, like if you have a hypothetical story. But then if you're remembering something, which is usually more truthful, then you're looking at a different side usually. And I don't know the specifics of the science of how this works, but I do know how attraction is built or destroyed by your eye contact. And this is something that I worked on for a long time because I was a shy kid. You might be surprised. When I tell people, they're like, wait, what? No, I used to be super shy. I would sit in my room and play World of Warcraft and didn't have any friends. And the only exposure I had to women was through the computer screen and porn. So when I went on my journey of self-improvement and learning how to seduce women and how to have better times with women, I worked on my eye contact because even before I learned what pickup was, because I understood the importance of it and I understood that people weren't receiving me well because I wasn't holding eye contact, and I knew that it showed a lack of confidence. But as I actually went through the gauntlet and learned how to be better, I found that it's actually sometimes so powerful, it can almost be too powerful. I've had women tell me that my eye contact is too piercing, it's too intense. So what you have to learn is how to use it to gain respect and attention, but then also not have it be so intense that you potentially come off creepy or that you potentially come off too predator-like. So these 9 tips are going to help you gain the respect of a woman, which is the foundation of attraction, without creeping her out or intimidating her, which is not necessarily creeping her out, but just making her feel like, wow, he's just too intense of a guy for me to handle, and I feel too low value. Okay, so we'll start with the first one. When you're delivering a compliment, it is absolutely necessary for you to hold eye contact. This is something that I learned personally, not only through women, but through these videos. Someone recently commented on a video of mine where he said, oh, you were looking at the camera at exactly the right points and delivered the point much more effectively. And I thought about it and I was like, oh, of course, that translates from video or seduction. When you make a point and you hold eye contact as you do, it makes the point seem truthful. And when you express your truth and that truth is high value, that's going to come off attractive to a woman. So when you deliver a compliment, it's absolutely necessary for you to hold eye contact. The second tip is for shy guys. If you're shy, then you need to, with eye contact or any other sector of what the fuck? Every sector of seduction, you need to overshoot it. So with eye contact, if you're shy, you need to actually overshoot eye contact and learn the extremes of it, because you've obviously not been holding really good eye contact. You're very shifty and it's hard for you to keep eye contact when you talk. So now I want you to go overboard and hold it most of the time, even when you think that maybe you're being a little bit creepy or intimidating, because you're going to learn via failure what's too much. You're going to see people start to get uncomfortable, but there is a side to that just because you're making someone uncomfortable doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing, right? Respect, intimidation when it comes to other men. Sometimes you do want men to have a little bit of fear for you. When it comes to man or even woman to man, a little bit of fear is kind of integral to their respect for you. Now, as for a woman, you do want to be a little bit more careful and you don't want to creep her out, but I do want you to hold eye contact to the point where you're getting her to look down a lot, which is a sign of submission, or at least she's breaking to the side, but she's breaking more than you are. And by going to the extremes, you learn where the good, healthy boundaries are. Now, if you are a bit more experienced and you're extroverted and you have no problem holding eye contact, and you might even be high value, whether you're good looking, you're in really good shape, you have really good style, you're really good at talking, you're really charismatic, whatever it is, if you're high value and you know you are, then I want you to actually undercompensate and start breaking eye contact a little bit more, because I think that once you get to a high value level, your problem isn't value, it's attainability. Whereas people get too intimidated by you, they feel like they're not really on your level and they can't get you. Even if you are like, of course I want to get with this girl, how could she think I wouldn't? That's not what she experiences. She experiences you being super intense and super cool and charismatic, and she's just like, oh, this is too much for me. And they can go into what we call auto rejection. So for you to be more vulnerable, a little bit more relatable, more human, you actually want to break eye contact more than you normally would. But going into the next tip, I want you to remember, you don't want to ever break down. Don't break eye contact going down, because that's a sign of submission, right? Think of someone, if some like big scary guy walks up to you and stares at you, and you kind of, you don't even notice it, but for a quick second you go, boom, he got you. You don't want to do that. There's only one instance where you want to look down, and that's the next tip, is when you're doing the shy smile. So this is when a girl looks at you and you kind of hold eye contact and you both have that moment where you know you're checking each other out, and then you break it and you kind of smile to yourself. And then you come up. That's the good part, is where you break down and then you come up. There is one other instance where you can use it and not come back up to get her eye contact, is when maybe you're at a party and a girl gives you eye contact and then you break it down and you do the smile to yourself. That's the important part, because it's like I'm knowingly looking down. So I'm not submitting, I'm kind of just playing hard to get almost. Then what you can do is you walk past her, she smiles at you, you smile at her, you look down, and then you turn and you walk away. So it's almost like you're playing this game of cat and mouse, so you're not really submitting. Those are the only instances where you want to break eye contact down. But otherwise, always break to the side. It's a neutral, right? Someone could just be being really mean to you, and if you break to the side, it doesn't necessarily mean submission. It could almost be like, I'm annoyed, I'm bored, or I don't want to hold eye contact anymore. And then if you break up, that's always going to be a sign of superiority. This is something that I used to do. It was weird. I had this period where I would talk to people and always look above them. And then I realized when I found a girl like a year later, she was always doing that. I realized it was me subconsciously trying to like look over them, like I'm bigger than you physically and mentally, like I'm above you, and you know, you're just a peasant. You have to keep eye contact with me, but I'm going to look above you because you're not worth me actually gazing at. Now, as for how much eye contact you should hold while you're actually conversing, right? Because those were all very specific instances. But what about most of the time when you're talking? So in my experience, when you're listening, you want to keep eye contact 90% of the time. You want to show that person that you're very intently listening. With the, of course, exception if you're playing games and you don't want to give her too much attention, and so you need to pull back a little bit. But for the most part, if you and her or you and that guy are having a normal, cool conversation and you have no need to play any mind games or eye games, then you want to hold eye contact 90% of the time, because you want to let them know that they have your undivided attention. Now, if you're talking, then you want to be a bit careful with how much eye contact you hold, because if you're talking to someone and you just hold it the entire time, this is of course an exception, but you're going to be a little bit too intense. You're going to be making points and you're going to be talking, and it's almost going to feel like you're just slowly encompassing them with your energy or your vibe. I've noticed that I can feel their uncomfort or discomfort when I'm holding too much eye contact while I'm talking. So for their own sake, you want to hold eye contact maybe 60 to 70% of the time while you're talking, and then break eye contact the rest of the time with, you could just be talking and hold it for like, let's put it into seconds, 6 seconds, and then you look to your side to make a few comments, or maybe you're thinking to yourself. Use it when you're thinking. That's a good time, because obviously you're not going to be constantly stream of consciousness. So when you break eye contact to think, hold it for a few seconds and then come back. And then think of it in 10-second periods. 6 to 7 seconds of talking, hold eye contact. The rest of the 3 or 4, break it. And it makes them comfortable, but also shows that you are expressing your point in a confident manner. For the last 2 points of eye contact, I want to talk about who initiates it and then how you react. So if she initiates eye contact, I want you to always hold it until she breaks it. The best example I've had is when I was at this group meeting and we were all in a big circle and there was this girl. She kind of had this bitchy attitude, and I knew that I had to play a little bit more aloof with this girl or a little bit overly dominant. So she kind of thought of herself as the alpha bitch, and she obviously was the most attractive girl there. So knowing that, when I caught her staring at me randomly, the attention wasn't on me or her, someone else was talking. I was sitting there and I turned and I just saw her staring at me. I knew I would lose her for probably ever if I stared at her and I broke it first, because she initiated it. So it's almost like a challenge, right? If someone's holding eye contact, it's a challenge. So with a girl, you need to beat her in that challenge. Boom, look, she's holding it. I think it went on for like 10 or more seconds. It was super fucking intense. At some point, my heart even started going. I was like, wow, this girl's really trying to challenge me. And then at the 11th or 12th second, she finally went boom and hit down. And then I knew that I had gained some points when it came to attraction with her. Now, if you're the one who initiates it, unless you're looking to give a girl that really intimidating, like I'm hunting you kind of vibe, or if you really want to be a dick to a guy, then you want to initiate eye contact, and then break it after he holds it for a while. Now, if there's no conversation going on, that adds a lot of complexity to it as well. But let's just say that you're in a room and someone else is talking, and you just look at someone and they look at you. Then you want to break it after a few seconds, because you don't want to make them too uncomfortable, unless, again, it's a girl and you kind of want to show her how dominant you are. Okay, so I hope those 9 tips helped you with your eye contact, because, again, it is very foundational to all of seduction. Because if you think about seduction, it's literally just a sum of all of your different body parts moving, and then your voice coming out and making vibrations, and then that person understanding them. So if you think about it as like a machine, there's different parts: how your hand gestures, how your facial expressions, how's your body language, and how's your eye contact. So if you master eye contact, you'll probably master one of the, or if not the most important part when it comes to seduction. I would say that voice is the only thing that might trump it when it comes to attractive power. Okay, this is Hector Castillo, girlschase.com. Please like and subscribe. Follow me on social media, and I'll see you guys very soon.